Raise your voices, raise your glass high. Welcome to the Drink O'Clock Podcast. Let's dive. Oh, grab an old fashioned and join the fray. Raise your spirits, let the music play. From the corner pub to the dance hall floor. Drink O'Clock Podcast, we're ready for more.
You know, this is a new software, so I got to tell you, I'm not used to the countdown. I can turn it off, but I kind of like it a little bit. I kind of like
cool.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Gives you something to expect. My old one was like record, boom. You have those couple extra seconds you can compose yourself. But this is the Drink O'Clock Podcast. I'm the host, Rob Valincius, and I have the pleasure of having with me now Janet Dickey. Now, typically, it takes a little bit for me to figure out names. Yours, I'm good. I'm not going to mess up Dickey. At least I hope I didn't mess it up. So I probably should have asked you anyway, just in case there was a way to say it. But
nope, you got it.
Awesome. Now, Janet, you're a head coach. You're a certified mindset coach, and you're also the founder of Victory Mindsets. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. This is fun. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, PodMatch has been good to me. A really professional site. I like it. It's it's a great way to find people to talk to that are legit, because when I first started, so I'm in this year in August, it'll be year 4. So when I first started, I got everybody from Reddit. Now, Reddit is an interesting place to find people to chat with. Some people are flaky. In the beginning, I had people that just didn't show up, or they tell me they forgot, whatever the case is. So it's not like I could rate somebody from Reddit. And then I'd have the crazy people, which were always so much fun to interview. For me, I love the crazy people because I could probably let them talk all day and, go to town with that. But, PodMatch has been a great utility for this podcast. I don't know what your thoughts are on PodMatch.
I've had a wonderful experience with it. I didn't realize it was a thing until someone recommended it to me, and I was like, wow, this is really a thing. And it's I've had some fun interviews. I've had some kind of dull ones. I've had ones where we're not face to face, and that's kind of freaky for me, but I'm going to a live recording. I'm in Connecticut, and I'm going into the Bronx on Saturday to do a live recording. So I'm wicked excited about that.
Shit, man. If I had a real studio and this wasn't like my bedroom behind me, I would have had you come record with me. I'm out of Philly, man.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Philly born.
Gotta love Philly. You gotta be a Gino Ariema fan then.
Yeah, look, man, I gotta tell you, sports here has been a little rough. Except the Eagles. The Eagles have always been a kind of a light to our darkness here. It's awesome to see the Flyers in the playoffs. Hockey's like 4th for me. Basketball being number 2. The Sixers have been a dumpster fire for
years.
Ever. And they're still a dumpster fire. And, we're missing our best player going into, fucking Boston, who's, arguably I think they're better than the Pistons. So they're probably the best team in the East. And we're probably going to get smoked. If we get 1 game, I'll be happy. 2, I'll be shocked. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, playing in Philly is a little tough, but we always choke against Boston, unfortunately. And they got Tatum back. And then the Phillies are just, when you run it back every year, it's awful. So who are you a fan of up there?
So where we live is smack dab in the middle, halfway between Boston and New York. So our whole town growing up, it was always 50-50. I am more of an amateur sports fan. I love college athletics, anything college athletics. I really enjoy watching. But growing up, I'm going to date myself, but it was the New York Rangers because they had the Maloney boys and they had Ron Duguay and they were always doing ads on TV for I think it was Sassone jeans or something that Ron Duguay did. And then, so the Rangers, ice hockey is my team. I have 2 boys that are New Jersey Devil fans.
Okay.
much to my chagrin. And my daughter is a Maple Leafs fan. So,
Interesting.
yeah, she was dating a guy who was a heavy Boston fan, and when they broke up, she's like, "I'm going to go with their rivals." So, and then she loves Austin Matthews, so that's her thing. So
That's funny.
yeah, I mean, I've gone to games at Yankee Stadium. I've gone to Fenway. I've, but for me, it really like UConn is obviously a big draw for us. University of North Carolina field hockey is like, our favorite. I was watching UNC and Duke lacrosse game before I left to go out earlier. So, yeah, more collegiate, anything collegiate, I'll watch, like gymnastics, not really swimming and stuff like that, but any collegiate competition. And then I like to watch the Premier League from England every weekend. Man City is my team. So,
Nice. Okay. Yeah. See, the soccer thing or football is if you're in Europe, I'm still I'm not quite there yet watching that. I got a couple buddies who are Cuban, Puerto Rican. They live in Miami. They're coworkers and they're obsessed with soccer. So that's all they talk about. And I've never really I played a lot actually when I was younger, but I never really got really into it. UConn though, I'll tell you this. I'm a Nova fan, and UConn has. I know
it's
we're
okay.
I grew up like 10 minutes from, maybe 15 minutes from Villanova University. So it was always a dream of mine to go. But when it's 35 grand a semester, as a poor kid, unless I'm smart, but I didn't apply myself enough to get, a full ride. So that was a no-go. But, I actually will date myself here. I remember I stormed the court. Me and a buddy of mine, we were at the Wachovia Center. It was probably actually even long before it was Wachovia. I forget what the hell it was before that, but it was
Palestra?
Well, the Palestra is
No.
at their college, but this was like because they would play.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd have like a 4-game package where they actually play where the Sixers play, and I stormed the court with a buddy of mine when we upset UConn. UConn, I think, was ranked at the time, and we weren't. And we stormed the court because it was a last-second thing. And this was when Randy Foye played for Nova. A very young freshman, Kyle Lowry, was playing. I don't even think he was a starter yet. And they had some other players that we really got into that did. A couple of them got drafted, but never really did much. Randy Foye, I think, was outside of Lowry. Lowry was obviously the headliner there, but that was a cool experience. But now I don't follow Nova as much, but they're local, so we always want them to do well. But it's not like I wanted UConn to lose. I know their women's basketball is really good, right?
Yes, yes. Gino is a Philly boy. He came up through the system in Philadelphia. Norristown is where he was from. I'm a huge Gino Auriemma fan. I just love how he coaches and what he demands of those girls and the bar he sets. And I have been for a very long time. But I'll tell you a funny side story. So my husband and I had the same Spanish teacher in high school. He's 4 years older than me, but we had the same teacher, and he was a heavy Nova alum. And this is how I got into watching college basketball. Our black and white TV got two stations, and CBS would show a game of the week every Saturday. And oftentimes it was Providence, or Villanova or a Big East game. It was never UConn back then, but it was something. If we could tell him what the Villanova score was on the next quiz, we got like 10 extra points. My husband I don't want to say he got passed in that class, but he got a good grade because he could sing the Villanova fight song. So that was my introduction to like Rolly Massimino and all of them. If I would watch every Saturday, whatever I could for men's college basketball, and it literally was like a doubleheader, I want to say, on Saturday afternoons that they used to show back then. And it would have had to been CBS because ABC and CBS were the only two channels we got. So.
Yeah, college basketball is really fun to watch, especially March Madness. I mean, it's just the stuff this year was a little lackluster the first two rounds maybe, but once you got really to like this, the Sweet 16, Elite 8. There were some crazy games, and then obviously, the game winner was it against Duke,
Yep.
right? And that was just, and of course I picked Duke. I had a nice little parlay going on. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. And then I knew he was going to hit the shot. As soon as he took it, I'm like, damn it, I lost.
Yeah.
I'm not a big bettor. I bet $5
Yeah.
here, $5 there. But I was like, I would have won $30. I'm like, I lost 5. It is what it is,
Yeah.
But it's, college sports is fun. You can really see the passion when you're dealing with kids. I just don't follow it as much as I do pro, but I know enough to be dangerous, especially during the draft, because I'm one of those research people. So before the draft, I'm looking at draft boards, Mel Kiper, and I'm like really into trying to figure out who the Eagles are going to draft, what they're going to do. And then they always just do the exact opposite of what you think they're going to do. But well, look, let's talk a little bit about you, right? This podcast is for, talk to me. Let's just talk a little bit about growing up. Obviously we talked about, you're in Connecticut. Were you born there? I was born in Norristown, by the way.
There you go.
I was born where Gino was, but, talk a little bit about growing up and, what got you into sports and ultimately, lacrosse, right? Is your
Field
big
hockey.
one there.
Field hockey.
Field hockey.
Yep. So yes, I actually live on the street I grew up on. Now my son, my youngest, lives in the house I grew up in.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a piece of land that my dad had in his family that we ended up putting our house on. But yep, born and raised in Westbrook, Connecticut, very small population. We are in a beach association, so we go from about 5,000 in our town in the winter to about 15,000 in the summer. My bestie
Wow.
is one of the only summer people I ever really hung out with. We've been besties since we were 12. So we're going on a good 50-year anniversary of our friendship.
Wow.
And yep, went to college. So I was the 8 years younger than my sister, and my sister is phenomenal. She still is. It kills me. She is one of those naturally athletic people. Like she was like, we went skiing one time. This was like 30 years ago. And she's like, I think I want to try this snowboarding stuff. I'm like, okay. Next thing you know, I'm like, really? I'm on the skis doing this as I'm going down. But so I was the little kid that traipsed behind my sister who played 3 sports right after Title IX came. Is it Title IX? Yeah. Title IX. I had to think for a minute. Right after Title IX came through, they had a phenomenal phys ed teacher at the school who coached all 3 sports. So she played field hockey, basketball, and softball, and they were competitive in each one. And all of her friends, I was that annoying little, I was in first grade. She was fourth grade. She was a senior in high school. So I was the annoying little sister, but all of her friends were so good to me. And I would get home and I would take her extra sticks out in the side yard and get my 2 friends that lived in the neighborhood year round and say, let's play. Always out in the yard playing something, kickball, dodgeball, field hockey, basketball, playing horse, shooting hoops, trying to do whatever we could. And then it morphed into, I started playing field hockey in middle school. And in the 8th grade, my math teacher was our coach, and she was phenomenal. I struggled. My sister was the valedictorian. She went to Connecticut College on a triple biology major, uber smart. I struggled every time my mom would come home from open house. I'd be like, oh, here we go. Here's the speech. You don't apply yourself. You don't focus. Well, not for nothing, people. Massive ADHD, but it wasn't a thing back then in the 80s. And
Yeah.
it certainly wasn't a girl thing. So I had a math teacher who was also our field hockey coach, and she taught math in a way that I got it, and we connected at field hockey. So she really, I think that 8th grade year really solidified that love of the game for me. Went through and played, did fairly well, and went to college and couldn't get my footing in college. I was on the team, but then I was like, this is not what I expect. I wasn't prepared for being in college and being on a collegiate junior college, but still, on that type of level. So, and having competition for my spot. I was always one of the best ones at my spot. So I never had to compete for my spot from freshman year on. So It was all kind of brand new to me, and ended up getting married when I was 19. I met a guy. He went into the Marine Corps. We lived in California for a little bit, and then we lived in Hawaii, which was flipping awesome.
It sounds
Every
awesome.
Oh, I got to tell you, Hawaiian heritage is so fascinating. It really, really is. I worked with a woman who was 7 years old when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And, we learned about it in our history books and, like, those old black and white movies that they always show in our classes.
Oh
This
yeah.
is someone who said she was walking to church when the planes were going over. Like, so just very fascinating. Ended up coming back to Connecticut. Um, no longer married to that person, but the head coaching job at our school opened up, and I was 23, 24 maybe at the time. And I was like, actually, the JV coach opened up. So I took JV for 2 years, and then in 1990, I took over as the head coach. So had a great life living in Hawaii, jettisoned that husband, got a great husband now. We've been together 33 years, and
Nice.
yep, we have three children. My daughter was a regional All-American. She played for me, and she went on to play in college and also coach in the collegiate rank. She was an assistant coach at Western Connecticut. So pass that
That's all
love down.
following in the footsteps, huh? That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. But my sister laughs when I say I really do owe it all to, I don't want to say my hatred of her when I was growing up, but you know, my incessant need to prove that I could be just as good, if not better. And that really is at the core of what I think drives me internally for everything I do in my life.
Yeah, there's something about sibling rivalry. So my brother is 5 years younger than me, and we shared similar interests. He always, he tells me this now, but he always looked up to me. So he would, he would like the same stuff that I liked just because I liked it, So me and him used to play a lot of basketball together, and we had very different games. So yeah, we grew up in a family. Well, we grew up in a poor family. We're not. We got by, but we also, unfortunately in the world that we live in, poor families, we tend to not, we're not as nutritious typically. So you're either not eating or what you are eating is not nutritious. It's because it's cheap. So we grew up eating SpaghettiOs, and my mom did the best she could, for a while. My parents were together until we were about maybe I was probably 10 or 11, and my brother was like 5 or 6. So he was pretty young. And, so we were chubby kids. And then as we grew up, so when I hit like 13, I'm like, man, I really want girls to start noticing me, and I don't want people to call me the fat kid anymore. So I put myself on a diet. My mom helped me. Like we would do like fat-free chicken patties, and like she made it, kiddie, because I was 13. So I actually lost so much weight. I went from, I was like 200 pounds. And I was 13. So I was a big kid. I was like Cartman. I went from 200 pounds to down to like I want to say I was like, or I might have been even more than that. But I went down to like 130. Like,
Wow.
as a kid, you can just, if you
Yeah.
just follow, you just lose it. Your metabolism's insane. I actually lost so much weight in the 3 months, 2.5 months, summer, that when I came back, people didn't know who I was. And, so then my brother at some point was like, oh, my brother got skinny. I need to. So then he started to be healthier. And then me and him we would just play basketball all the time together. That was like our thing. But my game was a lot different. He's taller than me, of course. My mom smoked cigarettes when she had me. Thanks, Mom. Because it was okay to do that in the 80s. It wouldn't affect your kid. So my brother is a little bit taller. He's maybe like 5'8", 5'9", and I'm 5'5". So he always had a different game than me. He was more of like the power forward, and I was always the point guard, And I always, because I was shorter, I was fast. That was like my one thing. I was short, but I was fast as shit. So, but I always tried to play smarter, because when you're small in a sport like basketball that revolves around athleticism, you have to play smarter. It's just like Kyle Lowry is the same thing. He's a shorter guy, but he always played smarter. So I always had to try to think 2 steps ahead of the defense. That was like always my game growing up. So I would do a lot of no-look passes behind the back. I would be doing just weird things that people wouldn't think of, because I'm thinking to myself, if I run this way, and if my teammate who I just met 5 minutes ago, it's harder when you're playing pickup games, cuts this way, his man is probably not going to be in the lane where I need him to be, and I can kick him a pass and it's an easy layup. It worked with the smarter people, not so much with the people who were just running around trying to shoot the ball. But basketball was like always our thing growing up. We played some football too, but it's just funny. And me and him we didn't get into like fist fights, but we would definitely, especially if it was just me and him and we're playing one-on-one, there was always this, I had to beat him because I was the older kid. And if he beat me, like, he would get mad because if I played fast, then he would play bully ball. So it was like, did you guys ever have that, like, growing up, like the one-on-one situations? And
Not so much with my sister because she was already out of the house when I was going into like fifth grade. She was going to freshman year of college, and then
that makes sense.
she never really moved back. And my brother was 13 years older than me, so he went to college when I was kindergarten. But I think, like, no, never really had that. So that was part of, I think, what, when I went to college, I wasn't prepared for, was the competition of people fighting you for your spot. Like, I never
Yeah.
really had to fight for it. So that is one of the things that I try to instill in my girls that play for me is, we are a small squad, we're a small school, and yeah, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot. You don't have to try out, there's no cuts, but you know, you should always play and act like somebody is out for your spot. Like, I always make it very clear that no, every year it's a fresh slate, and when we go in preseason, everything is new, and that's it. But I didn't really have that. My kids are too, so because there was such a big space between my siblings and my children are the three of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life, and my sons are much like you and your brother. Um, the youngest is 4.5 years younger than the oldest, but Jeffrey can't be any more than 5'5" or 5'6", and his older brother's 6'2". He got my husband's height.
Oh,
So the knee hockey games that used to happen in this house, because they were both ice hockey players, were pretty brutal.
oh
Sometimes the
yeah,
card games got a little bit out of control, or the
oh
board
yeah.
games. And I also think it helped my daughter because I think she was always trying to show that she was better than the boys. Like, she's the middle child. She always has that. I'm the middle, and I'm the only girl. I'm the middle. But, I call it Jan Brady syndrome, which is, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah,
understand that. But
oh
so
yeah.
there was a bit of that also for her. So I think looking at their personalities, I love the way they turned out because she is so competitive, like so freaking competitive, and I love, you know, watching her when she would play in college, even when she played for me. I just would stand there and watch her and go, "Damn, that's my kid," and she is so freaking good, and had nothing to do with me. It was all her. Trust me. I was just guiding them along, but it's just so much fun for a parent to see that.
Competition, regardless of what it's in, I really think, especially as a kid, I really think it helps you grow as a person because it teaches you about winning and how to be, a gracious winner. It teaches you about losing because I know that today's day and age, everyone gets a participation trophy. But that's not how the real world works, right? If you lose, you're a loser. You can play as hard as you want. You can be the best player on the field, but if your team loses, you still lost. And it's teaching. I think it teaches a lot of those lessons that transcend sports, right? Because that goes into life as well. And for me, I think that's where a lot of kids these days. And look, you're a coach, right? I mean, I think kids struggle now because a lot of stuff. It's a lot of frou-frou. When you're a kid, it's like it's okay to lose, it's okay to do this, it's okay to that. But then, I think they struggle with that later in life, whether it's through sports or even in real life, because they grew up getting that free trophy for no reason.
That is the biggest battle I think that any coach has these days. Is when you were talking about how you used to see, like when you were playing with certain guys, and you'd be like, all right, you're planning your thing three moves ahead. We call this the Blade 54 generation. They want me to tell them to run to, like, because we play on grass. All right, you're going to run to Blade 54 of the grass, and Mary's going to dribble the ball to Blade 63, and then she's going to pass it perfectly to you. They can't, they cannot think outside the box for themselves, which is this system that I've created, and I created it with help from another. Like, even we got coached, my assistant and we took a coaching course for a whole year with a great guy from Australia who has a great company called the Coaching Lab, and it's about, you are the problem. You as coaches are the problem setters. Let the kids be the problem solvers, because if they can't problem solve in the middle of a game, how are they going to problem solve in the middle of the day? How are they going to problem solve in the middle of driving a car? How are they going to problem solve when they get to be an adult and they've got a coworker that they can't get along with, or they have a boss that they just don't know how to relate to? Or so there's so much of life lessons that we try to incorporate into it. But this, like, mentality of, you just tell me what to do, coach, and I'll go do it. Well, that's not how this works. So sometimes, to make them understand it, we have a pond where we have a beautiful field where we're way away from the high school. We're out in a complex. We're in the outfield of the baseball field, and it has this big pond around it. And in the fall, it's just gorgeous because the leaves change color. And when we walk out there every day, I'm just so happy and lucky to be out there doing what I do and what I love, surrounded by athletes that want to learn and are excited to be there. And I will say to them, and we actually do different things, at different times, but I will say to them, I can go to Five Below and buy a set of paints and those little canvases. And maybe tomorrow we're all going to sit and we're all going to paint the pond. And you know what? Everyone's interpretation is going to be different, but that's okay, because when you put the pictures together, it's still what we're all looking at, to make it tie into and they go, like, yeah. So the kids want to be creative. They need to be creative. They can't, this leaving them around. Like, I'm scared when I'm elderly, who's going to be taking care of me, like, in a nursing home? Because I totally plan on picking one that has a happy hour and puts me to bed by 6 o'clock at night, and I can watch whatever I want on TV, preferably somewhere sunny and warm, or just
Yep.
lie to me and have a sand pit somewhere and wheel me out to the sand and let me sun myself. But, like, who's going to take care of me if they can't
Yeah.
figure out what I need, and they're going to freak out because no one told them that I need a medication at a certain time, and they have I must do this, I must do that, like, and you've got to foster the competition within your team in a healthy way. Because you're going to have all those parents on the sideline that are going to be woofing about, oh, I see that one and that, and why is that one playing? And, the parents' meeting, I'm very, luckily for me, field hockey is not a sport that anybody's dad has coached since they were little kids. When you get soccer, I wouldn't want anything to do with coaching high school soccer, because every one of those dads has either coached a park and rec team or played for Man City, like, in their brains. Like, I just... No, thank you. They know nothing about field hockey, or not nothing, but next to nothing. And so when I have my parents' meeting, I can tell them, these are my expectations. When you get in the car with your daughter after a game, or if you can't find something positive to say to her, all I wanted you to say to her was, I loved watching you play today. That was so much fun. Thank you very much. And, I've gotten compliments on our parents. Like, I'm like, if you see a good play from the other team, absolutely applaud it. Like, you should be doing that. And there are certain teams that come in, and my parents afterwards are like, whoa, their parents are brutal. I'm like, yep, but it's not us. And never will it be under my tenure how we behave.
Yeah, I couldn't be you. I couldn't deal with the parents. I'm sure it is not fun, because I couldn't imagine. I mean, I remember cheering on my brother. He was in a basketball league, but it was a church league, and I was cheering him on. And this one kid, I got really frustrated because the kid that was playing, I don't know if he was actually the same age as everybody, but he was a foot taller. than all of them. And I just remember, and I'm probably 16, 15 at the time. I'm still a kid. I'm like, you get that big bastard, I'm yelling. And
Yeah.
the church people are like, look, you're going to have to leave. And I'm like, what? They're like, you can't be yelling. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, he's my brother. I want him to dominate. And he would have been the biggest person outside of this gargantuan kid that just had to catch the ball and be like, like it was huge. He was huge. He was a monster. And that was back then. So, it's probably even crazier now, because sometimes I see like 8th graders that are, 6'4", and you're like, how is it even fair? But destined to be a sports person of some kind in their future. Now, so you're entering your 35th season at Westbrook?
Going into my 36th.
36th. So, obviously coaches tend to move around. What's kept you in the same program for 3.5 decades? You got to love it, right?
I absolutely love it. I have a great foundation. I have great support from my administrators, and I have, like I said, this is my town. It's the team I played on. It's my school that I grew up in and graduated from. My husband graduated from there. Like longevity, I think, is something that kind of, I don't know if it's a work ethic, really, that was instilled in me. My dad was a self-employed jeweler who always was, we're the first to, when your name's over the door, you're the first to come, you're the last to go, and you do all the credit jobs. And I just think it was, and you didn't leave a job until you had another one lined up, like that was either better or equal pay, or if you had to take a cut, was better for you, whatever, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I think it was the work ethic that was instilled in me by my dad. But yet again, our town is a very close knit community. My husband's been this is the first job for him out of college, and he is in year 42 at the same company.
Wow.
Unusual,
Yeah.
and very unusual for us. But like I said, I love what I do, and I can't imagine. I did get asked once about. Let me see. Kevin's 26. He was maybe just had him, or he was one. So 25 years ago, a job came up at a college nearby, and an equipment guy who I knew said, "Oh, you'd be great for this. You should go and apply." And I was like, you know what? I have no desire. Like I at that point, I hadn't really accomplished everything I wanted to with my Westbrook team, and I felt as though I just, it wasn't in my heart. I didn't feel like it was what I really needed to do. I feel like there's too much of the leveling up. I'm gonna start here, and then I'm gonna level up in 2 years. And I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go there, and I feel like when you look at someone's resume and they've shifted around that much, that, like, to me is a red flag. That's just me, but that to me,
Commitment phobe there,
yeah, that's a super red flag to me. Like, why, and I think that's actually something that I instilled in all of my children as well. Which, I have like I said, I have a son, and he just switched jobs, but he was at the other job for like 8 or 9 years. And he said, Mom, this is a level up for me. And, management changed at my other job. And like, he was trying to sell it to me. I'm like, dude, you don't have to sell it to me. I get it. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine. But, it's very, rewarding as a mom and as a coach to see the longevity of what you've created, and values that you don't even know that you've instilled in people, that you've instilled in them. My middle school coach is a teacher in our school system. She played for me. So, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and she's raising 2 kids in town, and her little one is like playing now. She's actually done a phenomenal job of trying to create interest with the elementary school age kids, because like I said, we're a very small program, and getting, competing against towns that have a great feeder program and great park and rec things. She's done a great job with the park and rec stuff. Why? She has a passion for it. This kid loved playing. She loves coaching, and she brings that into everything she does. And our fields are kind of like side by side a little bit. their kids are always running over after practice, the middle schoolers, if we have a game, and sitting on the sideline and watching. So I say to mine, look, you're setting the example for the littles. Like you're like their idols. They want to be like you when they get to high school. So set a good example for them, which is what my sister's friends did for me.
That's awesome. I live in Northeast Philly, so it's a little bit different for us. Like sometimes I wish we had that small town oriented thing, because I feel like you know everyone you run into, but there's positives and negatives, I guess. I mean, I have a
Yes.
convenience store, I have a beer store within walking distance, so like you get some cool stuff either way. I think it depends on what you're into. Now, Westbrook was one of the smallest programs, right, in Connecticut, but you've built them into a bit of a powerhouse. What's year one coaching been like for you compared to now?
Oh gosh, year one. I don't think we won a game. I
Oh,
was so young year one. What was I, like 23, 24 maybe? And just naive. I coached them like I wanted to be like how I thought coaching should be. Like I was, I'm in charge, and, clueless, absolutely clueless. God bless those girls that they still talk to me. One of them is an official in the area now.
that's
And
funny.
yeah, I love, and she'll make a call and she'll look at me and go, like, she's looking for my approval. And I'll be like, Kel, it's fine. You're good. You're good. Like, it's just funny. And then I have to remember she still sees me as her coach. I see her
Yeah.
as my peer. She still sees me as her coach. So I have to remember that, I have that kind of whatever, that aura or whatever. And then, went along, got some good players, um, got a little better, but I got to be honest with you, when I ended up, and I'm trying to think, Emily's been with me for 20, Michaela's 29, like 29 seasons. When I got together with my assistant coach, she really is the yin to my yang. Like, she is good at the things that I am not good at. And the coming together of our minds really is what helped start to change. I think as a coach, you have to be okay with asking for help, taking help, receiving information, um, you know, just, okay, this isn't working. I got to go in a different direction. It's okay to be vulnerable like that. And I don't know that a lot of coaches can be vulnerable. I know a lot of coaches that are doing things the way they did them in the 80s. Well, okay, that's great, but are you creating players that can adapt to a collegiate program, or are you creating players that play the system that you've taught them that works for you? Like, I feel like we are raising young ladies that some of which are going to play in college and are going to have to learn how to get along with new teammates, and maybe teammates that they might not get along with outside of the field, but when they're on the field, they got to get along with them. We're raising these young women to go out and be able to use their voices to talk and advocate for themselves. Our social media, they can ignore any of the social media garbage that gets spewed on them. I would, first of all, I always joke with my assistant coach, I would have to have broken her phone when we were in high school if we ever knew each other in high school. She went to a rival school, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
Um, but she's like the got to post, she likes Facebook and all that stuff, and she's always checking in, and she'll ask, she'll say, is it okay if I tag you? And I'll say yes or no. She would have been the one that would have been like online telling everybody we were at the keg party in the woods. Like, that's just her and her personality. I
yeah.
can't imagine my parents having the ability to check in and see where I was 98% of the time when I was in high school. Luckily for me, I was 8 years younger, so they were a little tired by the time I came along. And, I did a lot. I like to say I was raised by TV. The TV families, the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch, they all raised me. That was good. But it's a joke now because my sister-in-law and I are the same age, and my husband is 4 years older than us. He was going to UConn, and we were juniors in high school and seniors in high school, I would tell my parents I was going to the library with Sue, and we'd go up to Yukon. Now, Yukon is about a little over an hour on rural country roads. Now, picture that in, I'd put enough gas in so that they wouldn't notice the gas was gone. And, but we never thought we were going to hit a deer. That wasn't a thing then. Flat tire. I don't know what I would have done if I ever got a flat tire. I would have had to go find somebody's house, knock on the door. I would have had to call my father on a phone and go, I'm 50 minutes away. Can you, come help or whatever? Never thought of that. Got in the car, went up there, it was the old field house at UConn. We used to watch the games, the guys' basketball games, and come home. And my parents were like, well, you're at the library a lot. Why are your grades so bad? I'm like, geez, I
I'm trying.
yeah, must be the teacher.
We lived in a different, like, cause I grew up, I was born in 86, so I'm a millennial, but I was kind of like the last generation that grew up without cell phones. I didn't get a cell phone until I was in high school, right? So I grew up to 13, 14, 15-ish before I had a cell phone. And I think, I appreciate that time now as an adult because, hey, my mom would be like, be home by 6 for dinner. If you're not home, I'm assuming you're being kidnapped. I'll call the police. Like my mom was very protective, but it was a weird time frame. Now, it's like everything's instant contact. It's very hard to break off that grid, to leave the grid of, everyone can get to you, whether it's your cell phone through text and call or social media, right? Facebook message or whatever. You're always reachable. And I did appreciate, being able to unplug, or just if I didn't want to talk to someone, I didn't have to. And I think the kids now, you can't unplug. Everything is interconnected with everything.
And our kids are so afraid of fear of judgment and fear of failure. They are, because it's going to be splashed everywhere. And that is my biggest thing is when they come in, so we're in the outfield of the baseball field, and they come into I call it in the fences, and they leave their imaginary backpack of garbage from the day on the outside of the fences. And there are days when I go, you know what? I need to go outside the fences, drop my garbage, and come back in. Like, there'll be days when I'm a little scattered, and I'll be like, I got to go do this right now. And the phones stay in the bag. Like, when we have a water break or we're having a little bit of a transition time, the phone stays in the bag. You're there. Be present with your friends, because you're never going to be present in this moment again. And I think that's one of the things that they truly actually appreciate is the permission to be present in the moment and not have to be constantly checking those phones. And, the captains are all making TikToks after the games, like with whoever scored a goal or had an assist or whatever. That's awesome. And they're doing their TikTok, and then they're done, and then the phones are back stashed again. And I explained that to the parents at the beginning. Don't expect to get instantly in touch with your kid during practice time, because if it's my time, I'm with them. I don't answer my phone then. My phone is in my bag, and I don't even look at it until the end of practice. I have a radio if the AD needs to get me or the athletic trainer needs to get me. If there's a hurricane coming and they need to radio something, I have a radio, and I can hear that instantly. Otherwise, it's my time with my girls.
And I appreciate that. I think more people kind of need to follow that direction, because we don't have a lot of that. Old school, right? Now, you became a certified mindset coach in 2019. What was happening in your coaching life that made you say, I need to go get certified in this?
So what happened was in 2016, we won a state title with 16 kids on our team. Now it takes 11, just like soccer, on a side.
Nice.
And most of those kids were like freshmen. I want to say maybe 5 or 6 of the starters were freshmen. And I had kind of been doing different things. I would go to different conferences, get different ideas from different coaches, and I kind of blended it all together. Well, after that game, I realized that I'm onto something here, but I didn't really know what. And the training popped up, like much like when you talk about something and it pops into your phone or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Positive performance, Lindsay Wilson, and it was, get certified. And I thought, maybe I could turn this into something, in addition to what I do anyway. So I did the certification mostly through COVID. I want to say I started that September, so September 2019, and it was a year long thing. And started using more of the techniques that I learned from Lindsay that I teach now that she certified us in. And this past season was so in 2021 we didn't have enough for our own team. So we reached out to a former player who's an athletic director at a nearby town, and we ended up with a co-op team. So a school who had never had field hockey, although their AD played for me, and our school. So I had girls coming over from that school. And this is the fifth year in the cycle, and employing all the techniques that I've been employing all the way through, and combining it with the coaching lab with our friend Jack from Australia, stuff from him, made this whole bundle of stuff. And I'm like, wow, this really works. And I see so many of my fellow coaches struggling. Like, we're the first co-op in, I don't know if it's in the state, but I definitely know it's in our conference to win a conference title. We won our conference title. We had 15 wins this season. We're 15-2 and 2,
Nice.
I want to say. And yeah, and I want to share it. And I'm like, well, I should, this is a great side gig. Like, I love sharing it, but I also like that I can say, hey, this is my job. I get to coach people for a living. I love that because that's what I love to do. I was born to be a coach. I didn't know it. I wish I had known it back when I was trying to figure out what to do in college. I probably would have gone to be a teacher, but back in the early 80s, um, teaching wasn't a profession you went into. My dad wanted me to go into business because of the business, get that business background, get that business degree, and not run off and get married to a Marine. It's okay. It is what it is.
Hey,
Everything
look,
that
life is life. I do have a lot of young people that listen to this, and I always try to guide them in the right direction. I always tell people, I think what makes us human is making mistakes, man. And, as you get older, you own the mistakes. And then as you get even older, you kind of turn those mistakes into a philosophy, or you turn that into something, and you make a positive out of it, I guess is the best way to put it.
absolutely, here's my mantra. It's how you react to the situations that you've been given is what defines you as a person. So
Agreed.
that's what I tell the girls. And honestly, looking back now, I think I went through everything I went through so that I could be better prepared to teach the girls now. Like, I did a lot of on my own stuff, and I learned. And you go off to this tropical island, no friends, no nothing, no support group, and
I
at the
mean,
age
but
of
if you had to go anywhere with no friends, I
oh,
mean, that's at least a decent place to go, right? It's not
oh
like you went to Detroit.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think the next station he would have gone to, I think that's why I was like, yeah, nope, nope, not going there.
Nah,
But
I'm
like
good.
everything I went through defines me as a person, and it prepared me to better prepare these young ladies to not squander their athletic ability, to not feel like they can't accomplish something if they put their minds to it. Years ago, I had, they come to me and they'll be like, hey, how's school? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I went to the guidance office and I was going to apply to this school, this school, this school, but she told me don't even bother. I'm like, why? What's the worst they're going to tell you? No. Okay. No harm. Well, do you know that that young lady got into that school and got her degree from that school? Like, I want to
Wow.
walk into the office and go, what are you telling these girls? Like, don't, what's the worst that can happen? No is a completely okay answer, but you're not going to know until you try. And it's okay to fall down and it's okay to fail. I've done it. And let me show you how I've done it. So, and how I picked myself back up and how I rebuilt. And, so I think that all of those lessons are what have made me who I am, but they've also made me the coach that I am. And the value I bring to this program and the insights, the personal insights and everything make it, in my mind, it's a no brainer. I don't know why I don't have a line out the door waiting to talk to me, but
Well, that's why we got to get you out there, right?
that's why I'm here.
It's the famous Michael Scott quote, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
I think Wayne Gretzky said it too, but we'll give it to Michael Scott. So I like that. I think it's important. I think it's good to teach kids it's okay to fail, man. My generation, that's very much what it was like. It was like, hey, you fail, you fail. If you get knocked down, come back up. I mean, my dad, I got my ass whooped. Norristown was not the friendliest place to grow up as a kid. So, I walked to school. No one drove me. I was, my middle school was in walking distance. So I'd walk. I got my ass beat once. And, my dad's like, you're going to karate. So I went to karate. I did learn some taekwondo. And, I'm going against this big kid. And we're sparring. And he said, look, man, it doesn't matter how big they are. You got heart. And I remember I'm timid at first because I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's not my thing. And I remember this kid, you got the red sparring gear. He punches me in the forehead. And I just remember getting so fucking mad.
Yep.
That I just went ballistic. I'm hitting him with jabs and lefts. And like, I end up winning the fight. And my dad's like, they had a room where parents could watch, but it was separated, which is probably the smart thing to do. It has like the see-through glass or whatever. And
that was gymnastics. When my daughter went to gymnastics, I had to sit in the room and watch through the glass. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing. Right. And I just remember, when it was over, my dad, he still brings it up. My dad's 62. He's like, do you remember that time you beat the crap out of that big kid? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. There's certain things you do remember. And I think as it's important for you and what you're doing there as a coach and teaching these kids, because I worry as well. I deal with seniors now. It's my job. I work in like the Medicare world, and I'm worried when I get that. I'll be 40 this year, so it's not like I'm that far off. Hopefully they come up with that like longevity drug for humans. I'll be in line, throw it right in the veins. I'll be cool to live to like $150 or something, as long as I still have my mind. I don't want to lose my mind.
Yeah, that is the scary part. Is the from what it just in my family, from what I've seen, either the body goes and the mind is completely sharp, or the mind goes and the body is fine. And I'm thinking to myself, do I want to know? I want to walk across the room and I can't do it, or do I want to not have a clue and just walk across the room? Like you like it's a hard one. My plan is to 100. I'm planning on living to 100. I already informed my kids. I'm going out at 100. So we'll see. I don't know.
It's tough, man.
It is.
Because you don't. All the things that we've been fed and given, and maybe this is the conspiracy theorist. I mean, do you watch like Netflix and stuff?
Of course, yeah.
Did you watch the plastic documentary that they have on there?
No.
Don't do it. It just it ruins everything for you. Now I look at everything, I'm like, oh well, that's plastic bottle. Apparently, they interview like how many couples, babe? They interview 3. My fiance is behind the green screen. She's kind of like my producer. That's not my producer. So there's 3 couples that they interview, and they're struggling to get pregnant. So this lady who's been talking about microplastics for decades, is basically kind of running an impromptu experiment. Like, if we remove all the plastics from your life, will you get pregnant? I got halfway through, and I'm like, Jesus, I look at everything that I do has plastic. Yeah. And, God only knows what it's doing to your brain. I think they said in the documentary that everybody right now has enough microplastics to equate to a full plastic spoon. And that's just in your body right now. So I'm at the age now where I'm trying to like live healthier and do like, I weigh my food, and I've been doing different things to try to not be a slob. And, everything's bad for you. It's like you're picking, Emperor Palpatine or Darth Vader, right? It's like,
Yep.
which one are you taking today? And that's kind
Yep.
of how life is. So, it's tough. And you see documentaries like that, man, it kills me.
Well, and yeah, and like you were saying before, like when you were saying how the cheaper food is the junk food. Why?
Yeah.
Why is the good healthy stuff expensive? That should not be the way it should be, but it is. But um, I grew up with my mom was I would like to say she was very progressive for her day and age. They used to spray for the mosquitoes in the summer, and she would run around. Now, these are like the memories I have of her running around the house like a crazy person. Close all the windows, close, you got to close the windows. What was it, DDT that they were spraying? Like, she
Yeah.
knew, but she was that progressive that she was onto that's all chemicals, you got to close it. Like, keep the
Wow.
house. Yeah. And I just thought she was being a crazy person because she was freaking out about, I didn't realize it till I got older. My sister, graduated high school in the mid 70s, went to a very crunchy, if you will, earthy college. And she, was a vegetarian and everything. Mom started to go to our weekly trips to the grocery, also included the health food store, which I don't know what the smell was in there when I was a kid, but I don't know if it was patchouli or whatever, but it was just hard, this smell in this, but the
Oh, yeah.
all, the unblanched almonds, the all natural, we had a big glass jar. It was like this big. It was a pear shape filled with sunflower seeds. So I grew up. Lucky Charms are still and will always be my favorite go to. Um,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch for
oh,
me.
there you go.
Big Cinnamon
Um,
Toast Crunch fan.
I remember my bestie coming into the kitchen in the summer, and I'd be like, "Oh, I just got to finish my breakfast," and it was plain yogurt, chopped up whatever fresh fruit was in the house, raisins, those a handful of those nuts, a handful of those sunflower seeds, and I remember her being like, "What are you eating?" But that was, my mom, like I said, very progressive for that day and age. I'm like, that was just
Yeah.
what the food that was in the house. Never had soda in the house ever. No soda. Um, just was not what we drank. We had milk at dinner. We had a pewter pitcher that went on the table filled with milk at dinner, and we all filled up, our glasses out of it. And it just, you know, unfortunately, when she got older, I think her, like you said, it's like raising toddlers. The seniors are like raising toddlers. When my son, my oldest, was a teenager, and my mom was giving me a hard time, I would look at the two of them and go, she lived 2 streets away. I'd be like, I'm shipping you down to Nana's, and you're going to live with Nana. Because the both of you are going through the same thing at this time, and you're both driving me crazy. So you go live with Nana, have at it. Good luck. Naspidania, whatever, however they say it. Have a good life, the two of you. But Karma comes back around. He's got two little ones, and he's raising by himself an 11-year-old and a 6-year-old. So
Hey, you did something right. You got some grandkids, right? So, you got them through the tough stuff. And now they can coach their kids just like you coach them. So it's a beautiful circle,
it is,
the
and
the
that is the
way the
thing.
way of the
Yeah,
life.
that is the thing that I don't think people connect these days is how connected we are without the cell phones, just through life connections. How connected and what that circle of life kind of is, and how important it is to nurture that circle of life, your elders and your peers, as well as your children and the future of, what did Whitney say? I believe the children are our future. Well, I'm
Yeah.
kind of scared for the future at times. I mean, I hold out good hope for the fact that I know that my son is raising his daughters with values that he got from us, but they're the exception, not the rule.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Now, I didn't get to 90% of my questions, which is good. That means this is a good interview, Janet, okay? But look, I want you to plug away. Tell us where everybody can find your content, and hopefully we can help you grow that.
All right, so they can contact me, victorymindsets@gmail. And my website is victorymindsets.com. And I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. They can contact me through those. And basically, DM me anytime, anything they want to know about my program. Please, contact me and say, yes, 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 I'm excited. I want to learn more from you. You seem like an amazing coach. And, we would love to have your input into our program. And again, like I said, no judgment from me. I'm on the I'm so excited when people want to change because I see coaches on the sideline and I really want to go up to them in the middle of a game and go, so I'd really like to help you, and some people don't
Yeah.
want that help. And I get that. And I see those girls and afterwards I'm like, I'll go through the high five line and I'll give them a hug and I'll whisper in their ear something, positive, like, hey, you're doing the right thing. It's okay. Keep going, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking to me when I see people just not enjoying what they do, not enjoying the kids, and not giving those kids the experience that they should have.
Well, I think a lot of people pick the wrong jobs too. Maybe they're not in where they want to be either. I would recommend to you get some good business cards, man. Throw a QR code on there. Hand them off at the coach handshake. Like, hey, if you ever want to chat, boom, here you go.
After we beat you, I think that sometimes it's a little awkward. They get a little, angry sometimes, but
you know what? Yeah. You should have specific business cards for the people you beat, right? I'm sorry. But if you want to find out how I did it, boom, there you go.
That's a great idea. I got to reorder some new ones. I might have to change them around. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I work in our marketing operations for my company, so we try to come up with random shit all the time. So I'm like, hit me with the ideas. I'm here. Well, me and AI, at this point, me and AI are like this. So
I'm a television junkie, and you know what gets me? Like I was going to tease you before and say, so you're Mayhem and his brother outside in the driveway playing basketball. Those commercials during the basketball, I think the commercials during March Madness are sometimes better than the Super Bowl ones. Honestly,
I agree.
There's some really good ones. I wish they would have brought back the ones with Charles Barkley and those guys we're Indianapolis. No, Chuck, we have to go to Indianapolis. Like that one was awesome that one year. But there are I love a commercial that afterwards you go, wait, what was that product? Like
I love Barkley and all those guys. Their show and just him in general. He just says the craziest stuff. I love it.
I know, me too.
It's funny you say that because we do a holiday party every year, and since I'm partly on our marketing team, we always come up with a skit, and I actually wrote a whole skit for my boss. I made him, instead of Mayhem, I made him Mr. Medicare. And he was there's a lot of changes in our world all the time. And we basically simulated that in the auto insurance world, but for Medicare, and it was really funny. So we get a kick. We do that every year. I've made him. You ever see the Progressive commercials where
Absolutely.
they're like, when you turn into your parents? I made him the old guy.
Yeah, Dr. Rick.
Yeah, I made him Dr. Bob because we're both Roberts, so I made him So I get every year I get to turn him into some funny commercial person at some point, and then it's fun. But well, look, this was a pleasure. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. My podcast is Drink O'Clock Pod on all socials. Drink O'Clock Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube. Follow me, subscribe on YouTube, and we'll have this up soon. So, thank you so much for joining me, and let's do this again soon.
I would love to. Thank you very much. What an awesome time.
Thanks. Boom. Awesome. Thank you so much, Janet. That was fun.
Oh, you're welcome. I could talk for hours. So, yes, this is great.
I'm the same way, and I'm like, I used to do 3-hour episodes, 2.5 to 3 hours, and I was by the end of by that 3 hour, 2.5 hour mark, I'm getting pretty toasty by then, and I'm just saying dumb shit. So nobody has like an attention span anymore. So I try to keep it at about an hour, because if I keep it at an hour, I'll get more listens, and
that
people
is the
will
truth.
stick through.
The attention span of a gnat lately, because everything is instantaneous. If it's boring to you, you fast forward. You don't look at it. You go on to the next thing. It's like, yeah.
But you know what? Progress is a beautiful thing. I've been doing this podcast now for 3.5 years, and I had my most downloaded audio month ever this month. by like tenfold. So we're getting there, and I just you see this, it's kind of like one of these things, and I always try to tell people, because I interview podcasters sometimes and they're new and fresh, and I always tell them, like, don't look at your numbers, especially the first couple of years. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
No. You're
gonna fuck with yourself. Don't look at the numbers, because at the end of the day, even if one person listens, it can turn into 3, that turns into 6, that turns into 12. It's you just got to keep doing it, and
that's what I'm trying to do with the business. To get 3, to go into 4, to go into 12. Yeah, just going along.
Yeah.
And my husband's going to retire soon, and I want to have something that I can do for myself. And like I said, I just love coaching.
And you know what? You could tell the conversation was genuine. You could always tell when people like what they do. So this, I hope, if I have time, I'm going to try to have this done tomorrow.
Okay.
If I don't, it'll be up next Thursday. I have people from all over the world that listen. So Australia, Japan, UK. So I try to post at like 3 a.m. I won't be able to do that this time around. So if I get it done tomorrow, it'll be posted in the afternoon, maybe like 4 o'clock.
Right.
And then you'll be a featured guest. So my website is drinkaclock.beer. Thought I was clever. You'll be a featured guest. If you could send me a good headshot, or like if you want me to just use the one that you have on PodMatch, I can use that. Or if there's a better one that you like, just email it to me, because I'll have a headshot on my website, and I also write a blog about our whole conversation. That'll be on my website with your stuff, with SEO keywords and all that. So I'll have all of that stuff done, hopefully tomorrow.
All right. And yeah, email me when you get it all loaded and set, and I will send it out to all my, my big social following of 12 people.
You know what, man? It's not even about that. It's just about trying to, get your stuff out there. And if I can get you one person to sign up, that's all that matters. And the message too, right? The message is important, especially for the kids.
Message is huge. It's not, for me, it's not about, dollars and cents. It's more about who. You guys are not getting the value that I have to offer you, and you're going to do it and go, oh my gosh, why didn't I sign up for this sooner, type of thing,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. And hey, look, I'll let you know. I'll pop you an email, send you a message on PodMatch, and I'll like tag. And then once I get to PodMatch and the thing, I always give people 5 stars. I'll leave a nice little review for you too, to help the algo and all that, help people find you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. This was awesome. And I'm empty, so I have to go fill up again.
Yeah. I'm pushing empty too. So look, you have a great rest of your night. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
On a stormy night where legends unfold, there's a podcast that's breaking the mold. Raise your voices, raise your glass high. Welcome to the Drink O'Clock Podcast. Let's dive. Oh, grab an old fashioned and join the fray. Raise your spirits, let the music play. From the corner park to the dance hall floor. Drink O'Clock Podcast, we're ready for more. We're ready for more. With a mix of folklore and rebel cheer, we'll guide you through tales of whiskey and beer. From Irish shores to lands afar, grab your friends, it's time to raise the bar.